On the same day that one of the 11 people, 9 of whom are in front of us, get elected as our mayor, there is also a national election, a national referendum to change the way we elect our members of parliament. I'd like to address this question particularly, first of all, one of the 2 people, to Ross Grant. I was surprised when he was asked how he would suggest people use their alternative vote for him, for another candidate. I thought his answer would be that they shouldn't use it at all, because one of the things we particularly dislike in politicians is hypocrisy. And I happen to know that Ross Grant is a strong advocate of no to AV, which would deprive the rest of the population of having an alternative vote for the election of our own members of parliament.
Okay, Ross.
I didn't choose the voting system for the mayor, and it wouldn't, and a version of AV wouldn't have been my ideal preference. It's very similarly, I didn't particularly like the way we ended up with the mayoral system, but when somebody else has set the rules, I think it's bizarre to rule yourself out of that. And therefore I'm sitting here standing for the mayor, even though I then give everybody a referendum which wouldn't be on AV, because it's a nice binary vote. But obviously, I still think I should be able to sit here, even though I didn't like those rules. I didn't make the rules for voting for the mayor, but they've been set. And to be honest, do I like the voting system? No, but I think that Peter Salisbury getting in is the bigger threat.
Peter.
Whatever you think about alternative votes in national elections, I think it is the right form for the mayoral election. I'll tell you why. It is because it has encouraged a good field of candidates. And it's because when you go to vote, you don't need to think about voting tactically. You can vote for your first preference, and then you've got another choice. You can make it. And I think for this sort of an election, it's the ideal form of voting, because it does mean you've got a good line-up here, and you've got a good choice when you get to the ballot box.
Thank you. The lady who's been patiently waiting. The lady. Wave your, you know who you mean. Wave your hand so we can see that. That's it.
Good evening. How will the candidates stop the damaging cuts to frontline services, particularly in children's services, elderly persons' homes and adult services?
Thank you. Gary.
By taking them seriously to start with, we've heard all sorts of nonsense about cuts. You'll have seen in the media this week that Liberal councils around the country are keeping most of their frontline services. It's no coincidence, is it, that Labour Party wants to make a big noise about cuts and then cuts frontline services. In our council, we've taken on over 1,000 people in 4 years. We're actually spending more now on staff that we don't know what they're doing than we're actually receiving in cuts. In the last year, when we were told to cut our budget, we took on another 250 staff, so that's another 10 million quid that we're spending. And last year, when the partnerships came to an end, we took all 64 policy and research staff on to the main budget.
Okay.
Take it seriously. Don't cut frontline services.
Rick.
You're not retaining the staff that you've got.
Okay, can we move on to Rick, please?
I think it's interesting when Dave was talking about candidates who went to the health briefing. I couldn't go, but my agent went. When we had the briefing on the budget, I think I'm right in saying there were very, very few of us there. It was fascinating, really, because this budget is perfectly capable of delivering high-quality frontline services. What we have to take out of this hundreds and hundreds of millions of budget are fripperies, things we don't need, things that don't make people's quality of lives any better. Secondly, well, I'll tell you, supporting something like De Montfort Hall, which arguably isn't worthy of supporting when the private sector have made a pitch to run it, supporting Prospect Leicestershire as an agency when we should be taking economic development back in-house. No single pound would be spent on making a new banner to hang off a lamppost when I'm there. When disabled people are arguably going to be done out of their day centres.
Okay.
That's obscene.
Thank you very much. This turns
Hello, good evening. My name's Dave Brazier. I'm wondering what the candidates might do to ensure that the children of Leicester have decent homes to live in.
We need to build far more houses for what they call social houses, low rent houses, for my better term. It needs to be run by the council as opposed to housing associations. There also needs a mix in the sense of our culture is to buy houses. Most people can't these days afford a deposit, so let's have mixed housing where you own some of the housing and then you build up. I also think the housing we have to be better quality. You must insulate these houses to a far higher quality than we do. The country, less than half of the country doesn't have enough roof insulation in the loft, let alone any cavity wall insulation. We improve the housing we've already got as well as building more.
Thank you. Mohammed.
Yeah, deprivation and child deprivation is a key issue in the city. We need to address it early so we can help the young people and children early in their lives so they have better opportunities in life. By doing that, we need to look at where there are high deprivations, reassess it, and then look at ways to improve it. Looking at best practice around the country, how other cities have fought it. And that's how I'd do it. And the other thing is, just quickly touching on the 2012 Olympics, I think we need to use that as a mechanism to bring innovation and change into the city. And there's already projects like the Community Media Hub who are doing a lot to support the 2012 Olympics. We just need to highlight that more. And AV referendum, if anything's fairer for the public, then we should support it.
Thank you very much. Pastor Samuel, right at the back.
Yeah, I'm Pastor Samuel, one of the